Dance my way to the gates, yeah, I'ma dance my way to the dance my way to the gates. You know who I am, yeah. You call me a friend, oh. It's all part of your plan, yeah. My life is in your hands, oh. Yeah.
These days I'm in your love, I'm deep, I'm safe. 'Cause you're the only one, it's you I crave. You're watching over me. And so I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know that you're the one I'll follow to. I know, yeah. With every step, you're making me better.
Oh yeah. My life ain't the same without you here. Haven't found anything that comes close to your love. Oh, I keep on chasing after you. This love gotta keep it around. This love gotta keep it around. Ay. This love gotta keep it around. This love keep it around. Yeah. I'll never be the same. I am nothing without you. Oh.
These days I'm in your love, I'm deep, I'm safe. 'Cause you're the only one, it's you I crave. You're watching over me. And so I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know that you're the one I'll follow to. I know, yeah. With every step, you're making me better. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know that you're the one I'll follow to. I know, yeah. With every step, you're making me better. Yes, it's greener on the other side. They used to tell me that all the time. I believe them. Not having whatever I want, it was freedom. But once I met Jesus, I saw the truth. I found that you love like if I was rude. He gave me freedom. They told me he was the Messiah. I believed them. Now I know. When I was lost and hurting, he found me. He found me. He found me. He found me. I'm never leaving, I'm not letting go. Jesus, you've become my all you struggle. I love you.
There's so much on my mind, hard to feel at peace sometimes, and I can't find the words to say how I feel. But then I realize when I look to the skies that my help is from above. You're the tower I can always run to, you're the friend that I can always call. When I'm sinking, you're my rescue, you will never let me fall. You're the help that I can always count on. Jesus, you're the only one that I know can heal my heart, yeah, yeah. Like the morning comes right after the night, and the sun shines after rain. Everything will be alright, 'cause troubles, they don't last always. Like the morning comes right after the night, and the sun shines after rain. Yeah, everything will be alright, 'cause troubles, they don't last always. Like the morning comes right after the night, and the sun shines after rain. Everything will be alright, 'cause troubles, they don't last always. Like the morning comes after the night, yeah. Like the morning comes right after the night, and the sun shines after rain. Everything will be alright, 'cause troubles, they don't last always. Le soleil brillera, 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 le soleil brillera.
You're faithful to find me. Your presence is my lifeline. And when it feels like I am sinking, you catch me at the right time. Oh, and I need you. You're the peace inside when I can't reach you. Oh, and your footsteps carry my heart. We're never apart. I call on your name. I need to see your face again. Won't fall in the pain. You carry me. I call on your name. I need to see your face again. Won't fall in the pain. You carry me. Oh, you carry me. Carry me. Carry me. Carry me.
Guilt and shame, I'm in chains. I just really wanna change. Deep inside me there's a pain. I wanna call upon your name, but if I do it, am I fake? When I made the same mistake that I always make, Lord, I know that I fell. But your love, your grace, they always prevail. Carry me, cause I'm weak, set me free, yeah. Oh Lord, won't you carry me home when times get hard and I feel alone. Oh Lord, won't you carry me home? Won't you carry me home? Oh Lord, won't you carry me home when times get hard and I feel alone. Oh Lord, won't you carry me home? Won't you carry me home?
Oh, and I need you. You're the peace inside when I can't reach you. Oh, and your footsteps carry my heart. We're never apart. I call on your name. I need to see your face again. Won't fall in the pain. You carry me. I call on your name. I need to see your face again. Won't fall in the pain. You carry me, oh, oh. Carry me, oh. Yeah. Carry me, oh. Ooh, carry me, oh. Carry me, oh. I call on your name. I need to see your face again. Won't fall.
We'll get this started. So, today I thought I would show you kind of what I do as a day job, I suppose. This is what I do once a week. So I currently work as an MD for my church, and that entails me basically making all the stuff for Sunday worship. So we're currently still all online, and the way that we do this is through multi-tracks and backing tracks, and then my job is basically, because we have limited amount of people on stage, I've got to try and fill all those gaps. So that's always fun, to try and fill some gaps, but it's actually really interesting. It incorporates a lot of my normal work skills that I have to do every day in terms of music as well. So I thought I would take you through kind of what it all looks like, kind of working on a few bits here. Hi Robin, editing vids again, and it's Wednesday, it's my editing day. Sweet. Hopefully all of this is working and it's all okay. But yeah, so my job basically is to figure out who's in the band. So once I know who's in the band, I can figure out what things need to include. So I play keys normally, and then have a mic which only goes to people within, like, you only hear it if you've got headphones and in the band. So I have a mic that does all of that, so I chat to people while the service is going on to tell them what's going on. But that means I also need to know tracks inside and out. So this Sunday we're doing 4 songs, I think. We've got Great Are You Lord, and I found an interesting version of that by Bright City. It's like part of their instrumental project they did. I'll show you in a minute, but this has no verses, so I've had to make my own verses in here. And then what other ones are we doing? I've got tracks for Better Is One Day, The Blessing, and there's another one, but I don't think I've started it yet. But yeah, anyway, I'll take you through what I do. Robin, I thought your editing day was Friday, seeing as that was what you're doing last time. Or you just got so many videos that you need to edit. So, this is so far what I have. And I'll take you so, this is what I got so far. I need to add in all my guides and a click track and stuff. So you kind of get the vibe of what we're going for. So the whole idea of Sunday mornings and kind of the brief that we have is we want to make it an acoustic but not sound very thin. So kind of use a lot. In this track we do use, I've kept in real drums. The good thing about making all these tracks is I don't have to make them myself. I just get the multi-tracks through multitracks.com, and then I basically mix and master and add any bits I need to. So sometimes I'll rewrite drum parts. So if the drums are really like heavy and sound too real life, because you only got 4 people on stage, so our stage is pretty tiny, and with current restrictions we can only have 4 people on stage from different households, or 5 if 2 people are from one household. You can't have more than 2 singers. That means you basically can have 2 singers, maybe a worship leader that's playing an acoustic guitar, and then, I don't know, keys, an electric, or keys and a bass. So this Sunday we've got keys, BVs, main worship leader, and a violin, and the only instruments on stage are keys and a violin. So using that, I was trying to find like different versions of tracks to try and incorporate like the strings into it. With keys, I just kind of play whatever is not being played on track. So yeah, the drums in this sound pretty chilled anyway, so I don't need to make my own. Wednesday's a non-negotiable. Fair enough. So yeah, drums are pretty chill. I'm gonna just tweet Instagram out that I'm on. So yeah, the drums are pretty chill, which means I can kind of use them. They do go mad at some point. They go mad like in the bridges. But so with this, there's no BVs, so there's no vocals, so you can't have to sing in your head the song to go along with it. And as you can see at the top here, I've had to go through and label each in individual sections to try and figure out where it's going, what's it doing. And especially, so you can see here I've got verses in this section, and before it goes from like the count-in to the intro into an instrumental into the bridges of this of Great Are You Lord, to a refrain, to choruses, to a breakdown, to an instrumental, to bridges. So it does no verses whatsoever in the backing tracks that we bought. So yeah, I kind of knew that it wouldn't, which is again half annoying. I kind of knew that they might not be. I heard the instrumental project and I didn't think there was verses. And when I bought it, I thought they might have put verses in, because they had the whole instrumental project, which is quite good for some of it. It's different, interesting, and different things. Live now, talking about how IMD. I feel like this is a work club as well now. Got Robin working, I'm working. Join our work club. Ooh, that was loud. So yeah, I just need to go through and finish all of these bits and make sure. One of the hardest thing is when you kind of edit things around is trying to make things flow, which is great. Trying to like basically, it's kind of like a puzzle. You've got to try and match all the pieces together. this? So with this, sometimes it sounds really bare, but that's just because in my head, I know I'll be playing parts. So I'll know, oh, I'm on keys at this point. Like, while it sounds like there's just one thing going on, it's like I'm playing keys at this point, so it doesn't matter too much. Or there might be an acoustic guitar player that's going. So this is basically to plug in the gaps that aren't being played at that moment. And some of the stuff that we've realised while doing live streams. So I wasn't able to go this past weekend, and they used different backing tracks to what I did. And I noticed that they didn't clean up a lot of the mixes. So basically, it would sound really distorted on the live stream and the way that we run it. So now I'm really trying to be keen on like cleaning up mixes and like making sure that it's mastered nicely and all this stuff. So this is taking advantage of the strings. Yes, Arn. Hello. Welcome. You always wondered how this was done. Yeah, it's all like... Luckily, this isn't all on... Like, I'm not paying for all these multi-tracks because it's so expensive. So this version is by Bright City. So you can buy Bright City's pack or backing track. So they give you all the stems, basically. It costs like $40 per song, which is... If I was paying for it myself, I would be a bit like, oh. But luckily I don't have to. And this is kind of how Church wants to do it. So, yeah, all of this is kind of taking advantage of what the instruments I've got on stage. I know the violin player is like really good as well. So I know that I could basically, like kind of how I'm talking to you now, while all of this stuff is going on, you would have like... So I would be in an in-ears mix. It would sound like a bit like this. So I could go violin, play the lead line now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then on top of what's playing here, you would suddenly then get the violin playing on top of it as well. So it's in the backing track as well, and I've had to clean these up a little bit. So originally it was doing these runs, which is cool, but like it's trying to find the balance of making stuff sound cool in a worship setting but not being distracting from it as well. So how can we do stuff creatively that's not really distracting? So I know that if something like that was playing while the violinist was playing, there would be a clash. So you kind of have to like preemptively think of it. Do all churches have to pay for copyright to use tracks or purchase them from bands? So you have to buy the multi-track stems, like what we've done, and then to live stream it, they've had to buy a license to be able to use music online. So it goes through a thing called CCLI, which is like the UK version of it. So it's kind of like PRS and PPL, which is like a licensing performance body. So yes and no, I suppose. So if you weren't live streaming and you were just doing it in church, you could just buy the backing tracks and away you go. Whereas if you're trying to do it online as well, you have to get special streaming licenses and stuff. It's all complicated and stuff that I don't massively understand. So, go from here. What's happened? So, I need to. I wonder if I still have it. Let's see. Cues. Guide cues. Spanish. No. Dynamic cues. English. So, part of what goes on in our in-ears as well is you get stuff like this.
All in.
So you'll have a click track, which is like a metronome. So let's see, how long does this one go on for? So you'd have a click track and then a woman in your ear telling you where to go. So if you're in a church that says women can't be in leadership, then get a woman in your ears telling you where to go. I'm sure that will tell them. Yes, Jeremy James. Hello. Go check out Jeremy James' new album. It's great. I love it. So, clicks. So sometimes you can have where is dynamic cues? What am I looking for? English count song sections. Okay, here we go. So sometimes you can build in the cues or the guide lady to do like count you into stuff as well, but I tend to leave it out so I can then count in. So normally it's only in my ears that the track cues go, so it keeps me in time, and then I'll shout it out to the rest of the band. Oh, let's unmute that.
Intro. Verse. Chorus.
So just getting all of this stuff put in. Normally it will come up, it will have its own, so see here it's kind of, the previous version had its own guide track already put in, but because I've had make my own verses and chuck a load of stuff around. It basically means I have to remake the whole lot of it, which is fine. But you have to kind of... Sometimes you can get it... You have to, like, chop and change what she says. She
Exhortation.
can say all sorts of stuff in your ears. I don't know if there's anything interesting. Big ending, hold, hits, key change.
Key change down.
Here you go.
Worship freely.
What is it? Softly. Oh, I don't want to slowly. I want like a. What's like a crash? I don't know. Big break. Breakdown break. That doesn't make sense. Build does. I don't know. If I just do instrumental. To be honest, the track does most of the work for you anyway, so it doesn't matter horrendously.
Breakdown. Instrumental.
Unless I do it that way. Instrumental breakdown. Her inflections are different.
Instrumental. Breakdown.
Unless you're in a heavy metal band, breakdown means something totally different. As much as I'd love to see an online church mosh pit, I don't think it's going to work.
Instrumental. Breakdown.
So this is kind of where we can use the builds and guide cues and stuff. Dynamic build. Because there's only a violin, there's me and a violin, so I'm on keys and a violinist. Like, half this stuff is just to remind me to tell other people to do stuff.
Build. Bridge.
Bridge all in.
Bridge. All in. Instrumental.
So sometimes you get two basses, you get synth bass and a normal bass. I'll normally keep the synth bass as a the bass, and then I will have the acoustic bass as texture on top of it. With the live streaming stuff that we've got, if you feed too much low end into it, it will just distort the rest of it. And like, even if you can't hear it on a phone, too much bass just makes everything crackle. So I find I have to do a load of cleaning on these channels, because I'll mix all of this down. So I'll split, click, guide, and then backing track. So basically mix and master the track just really quickly within this, and then split, click, and the guide, and it all runs off my iPad off a app called Prime Community Prime, I think it's called. I tried to use a multi-tracks one, and you have to pay a subscription fee to use the loop section function. So if you're sat doing worship one week, like, it doesn't tell you this beforehand, so you can be sat doing worship using their app in which you play the song. So you're going along and the worship leader goes, repeat this section, and you push the button, it just comes up with a notification going, sorry, you need to subscribe for that feature. I'm like, what? I don't want to be in the middle of a worship set and I have to push a button to repeat a section, and then suddenly, like, I have to make a direct debit to loop the section. I haven't really got time to fill out a subscription form for looping a section. It's bizarre. So the Prime Loops one's free. Like, you can just download it, make an account, upload your tracks to their website, and it works. So it's great. Love that. And you don't have to pay a subscription to loop a section. Baffling. You pay £40 for a backing track, and then you have to pay extra to loop a section.
Bridge. Bridge.
I think the only thing that the Loop Community Prime app can't do is 6/8. It will freak out if you put a track that's 6/8 in, because it tries to auto-generate cues. So rather than it being 6/8 swung, so if you put it, so this is 74 BPM. So
Tag.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can't do that. It'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all of the cues that they automatically generate, plus the click tracks, are all like horrendously out. So you have to use your own. Actually, I don't even think you can turn off their own cues. I don't know why I'm doing this then, because this is a 6/8.
Tag. Ending.
Okay, so all of those sections now should work. Give them a sec. Try in a sec. And then I've basically made a really quick master with limiter section. This literally just lobs it on to make sure. I should probably do that. So then this will just master it really quickly. You don't have to worry about it. If you haven't already heard of Goldfoss and you do music, Goldfoss is probably magic. It's insane. and try and find it basically does what I think an exciter should do, but I don't understand how to make it do. So it kind of like brightens everything up and cleans a lot of stuff up without you really having to think about it. You kind of just plunk it on, mess around with a few of these settings. A guy called Andrew Huang did a really good video on it, and as soon as I saw that, I bought it straight away. So basically, that's kind of everything mixed and mastered and guide track done, click track done on one song. Sorry if that went really loud. So now I basically just go around and check and make sure all of that stuff works throughout the whole thing, make sure the song actually makes sense. I don't have... Do I have my other iPad? I don't know. Let me see. New series. Great WYLD lyrics. Because I'm worried that I have done this and not realised, or like I've missed a verse or something, and I'll get there and I'm like, oh, I have to now make my life a lot harder by adding in verse sections. So
Intro. Verse.
sing along, everyone.
Bridge.
So far, so good.
Build. Bridge. All in. Instrumental.
Sweet, that all works. So yeah, I mean, there's a few things in there that I noticed where it's like there's this weird percussion thing going on here.
Instrumental. Breakdown.
Like stuff like that when you're going through once you've mastered everything, sometimes it can throw up weird things in the mix. So I'll go through and change all of that stuff and make sure it all just sounds fine. All the guides are fine. The click doesn't do anything weird. I kind of want to change the click sound. I'm deaf in my left ear from like a few frequencies and I can't hear the click in my left ear. So potentially I might go and change it. Normally I have like a tone in which I can hear in both ears, which is like lower down. But survive, I think. So that's kind of everything for like prepping one track. I've got a few more to do. So like we do work club. I can just work along with other people. Oh, 24. So now it's just a case of bouncing it out. So splitting it up into sections. Music. Tracks. Church. Online. Full. Oh, I need to do a full guide. So I'll send out rehearsal mixes as well. So I'll basically send out exactly what this is with a click and a guide saying. So basically it can be sent out to the bands. Let's make sure it's where it's loudest, it's fine.
Instrumental.
So I'll send this out to the worship leader so that you can send it out to the band. That basically means that you finish one video too now. There you go, we're on it. For every song I finish, you should finish a video. I know that's impossible. I hate video editing so much. I used to do a lot of video editing and I gave up. Anything that takes too much time of doing the same thing over and over again, which is kind of like music, but with video, I just couldn't get into it. Someone asked me once to do a wedding video for them, and I gave up during the edit. I did think I did it for like £100, which is so not worth it. If anyone asks you to film a wedding for £100, do not take it. It's really not worth it. It's way too much work for that amount of money. So great are you, Lord? It's in D, and it's 74 BPM. So this will get sent in a Dropbox folder to worship leader, who can then send it out. So everyone is working off the same sheet. Basically, what I'm trying to do while I'm thinking about doing this is going, okay, even if someone doesn't turn up, practice, and hasn't, like this is for Sunday and this is Wednesday, so realistically they're going to get realistically they're going to get the songs tomorrow morning and then have like probably 2 evenings and Saturday to like really look at them before coming in on a Sunday morning. So how can I make this as easy as possible for someone to turn up and just know exactly where they're going and what to play? Every song that we're doing on Sunday is in D, makes it way easier. But like, if I know exactly what's going on, I can just call things. So like, most of the time, backing singers will turn up and all they'll do is sing the melody along the same as the main worship leader. So if you have, especially if it's 2 females, if they both sing the melody the whole time, it will just sound rubbish, and it will. Sometimes it sounds good, but most of the time it's like if they're singing in the same octave all the time as both of them together, I know from a sound point of view, this is where like the production knowledge comes in. It's like, okay, so if I had 2 different people singing the same thing, it will always clash because someone will always be a little bit pitchier than someone else, or the timings will be a bit all over the place, and you can't really utilize that to make it sound a lot better. Or what's it going to be adding on the other end? So even though people are worshipping at home, you kind of also, it's going to be in a totally new way. I think what I like, I'm someone that kind of likes this challenge of figuring out how we do church at home differently. So like, in my head, I'm thinking people are probably not standing up in their house worshipping like they would at church. It's probably more reflective, so it kind of has to sound good for people to be able to reflect on it, because if it sounds a bit crackly, sounds distorted, there's weird stuff going on the track, you got pitchy singers and stuff, it could potentially sound a bit like it can take away from it way more than if you're just in a live scenario. If you're just in a live church setting, most of the time you don't really notice that stuff. The sound guy's got control over it. Whereas if you're doing it on live, I keep saying to the team there, it's like every week my challenge is to not end up on worship fails. If I don't end up on worship fails, then I'm fine. So I've had a few interesting moments on keys of doing some jazz notes, but in general I've been okay. Great. So yeah, I kind of in my head need to go beforehand. So when I practice, I'm doing I'm writing down notes of what I'm going to be saying to the band while we go through. So I'm going to be sat there going, while I'm playing, I'm going, okay, if the BVs are coming in the first verse doing harmonies, right, sack that off. We're not going to do that. I'm going to tell them or ask them to come in, maybe first chorus, leave out the verses, come in the chorus and do harmonies from the choruses. And that way we add more layers and we add more live as well. Because I think in some cases, like from what I hear from congregation people at home and how they use online stuff, it is kind of more you have to be more performance focused in the sense of making sure things sound good if you're just sat listening. So I think there's a lot more onus on the worship band to be practiced and know what's going on and having someone directing, because if it kind of sounds a bit messy, you can only kind of get away with it for so long at home, and it's all like, it can be off-putting for someone. As much as we like to think that everyone's perfect and just sitting and watching what's happening and like really engaging with it, there's been some Sundays where I get bored of what's going on and I go find another church. Like I want something that's like, maybe the worship sounds a bit off, just go find somewhere where the worship sounds a bit better, that sort of thing. But ultimately, like, I found my own rhythm in how I walk in my faith and how I'm like reading the Bible, how I'm worshipping. All of that's kind of changed anyway. So if we're trying to approach church, which is totally flipped upside down during the current situation, if we're trying to approach it the same way, like, I don't know how much that works. I'm generally interested to know what people think about this, by the way. Like, this is kind of like what I see and what I'm doing. And as someone who's like kind of working in it, I might be totally wrong. And I might be like, oh yeah, people love it when it's just an acoustic guitar that sounds on an iPhone, which I don't. I think there is obviously a place for that. But interesting. Right, that's a track done. Guides. Hours. They're going to editing is mad. Challenge on. Yeah. I mean, it's the same for music editing, I think. Normally these would take me a day, and I've already done some work to these. I'm going to go in blind onto the next one, because I'd already really done this. Click. Oh. I'm so tired. Such a valid point. It's changed for me for sure. I think it's really made the standards go high and the need for standards to be met to keep people's attention. And it's a really interesting balance on that, isn't it? It's like the need for excellence versus the need for people's heart versus the need for like technically on a Sunday you're competing with TV now. So it's like and also you're not even competing, like I can just go and watch another church and I could watch my church on a Monday. You know, it's all on YouTube. But the excellence versus heart debate has always been something that I've had interesting conversations on / never really know where I sit on it. Because ultimately, if the stream is bad and it looks bad and sounds bad, people probably won't watch it. And that's kind of like the weird truth of it. But you also don't want to try and be so excellent you exclude people from serving and all of that sort of stuff. So it's like, where do you draw the line on heart versus excellence versus serving, all of that sort of stuff. This is why for me, I'm like, if we use backing tracks, I always know that working with a sound guy, if someone's not really practiced or it doesn't sound very good, I know I can just add that back into the backing track and then take them off if needed. That's not happened, so like that's great. But there's just always kind of a fallback in trying to make sure that there's no distractions within it. So I mean, it's the same thing is like the church is at 10:30, and yeah, for us it's like our church is at 10:30. You can go on the website and then you can kind of chat with people and all of this stuff, which is great. And then, but sometimes it's like, oh, it's safer to go shopping earlier in the morning, so I'd probably miss church, but I know I could just watch it at 3. So even then you're catering to not just a live audience, but to also one that is at home, like watching later on. So it's all really interesting how it all works. Right, next track. So I haven't touched this, done anything with it, or anything like that, so we'll start from scratch. So first off, I color code everything. Make sure it's all in the colors I normally use. This is where actually these projects are where I got my color coding from, because already vocals are in yellow, keys, well the organ in this case is in green, drums are in red, and the bass and like acoustic guitars and stuff are in blue. So I'll generally like listen through and figure out what I need to change and So for me, I chose this version. I'll go through and figure out. Oh, where's my mask on? I'll go through a load of multi-tracks to go and find a version that will work better for us. So I want to make sure that like the drums are sound acoustic. There's nothing where it's like you don't want to go too electronic and you don't want to go too rock. You want to like sit in the middle for our church anyway. That bass is really makes me value personal church community groups. Yeah, an interest. Well, yeah, I value them a lot more now as well, because we've joined. Me and my wife joined a community group, life group, grow group, house group, Zoom group, whatever they're called now, group during this time. And one of the things that is really interesting and something that I don't know, it's like struggled with is kind of the right way, but also just found interesting is how you normally interact with people at church is on Zoom. When you first meet people, it's all very formal, and it has to be because you can't have a direct conversation with someone else. So like normally in a group I could go and chat with someone else, and my wife can go and chat with like someone else, like a different person, and you can have all these one-on-one conversations, whereas on a Zoom call you can't exactly have one-on-one conversations with people. So that's kind of a tension point maybe, I don't know, but it's been good having like a group like ours is tonight. There's a men's group on. I mean, I'm torn. I'm either going to go to men's group, I'm going to go to I've got men's group or house group, or there's a guy who is Ellie Golding's MD and drummer, and he does basically what I do but way better, and he's doing an online seminar tonight which I got invited to, and I'm like, oh, what do I choose? Can we just record house group and put it out? So because I have two screens, I'm thinking maybe I appear at the men's group on one screen, and then I am listening to the other one secretly in the background, and hopefully no one asks me any questions. But we'll see. So already kind of the drums. So I'm noticing the drums are a few things. Drums sound okay. I can probably use them. I'm not going to have to get rid of them and make my own ones, which is nice. And the bass is really, I'm going to say wubby. It's really sub heavy. So in my headphones, I can really feel it like vibrating my headphones. So I know I'm going to have to clean that up, because as soon as that goes through all the processing for online stuff, it's going to distort everything. So many options. I know. It's a guy called Joe Clegg. He's really on it with all this stuff. So he uses Roland gear and endorsed by Roland, which is all the gear I have for electronic drums. He uses Ableton, which is what I use for live sets. And he is really good at incorporating electronic and acoustic stuff, which is what I do. And I'm like, basically this guy is way better than me at all this stuff. Can I please listen to him while being at a men's group and just showing my face? Maybe. Anyway. So what I'm hoping for now is that the drums in the last chorus, the snare isn't on. So, I have a love-hate relationship with BVs in backing tracks. Sometimes I keep them in and sometimes I don't. Normally, if it's crowd vocals, I'll keep them in, but I am not sure on these.
The living God, your spirit's waters in my soul.
Ooh. This is a nice instrumental. Hey man, is there possibility you'd be down to review new music to give your thoughts and suggestions? I'd rather not. Just because I feel like I would be forced to say nice things about stuff, and that is not me. I'm a very blunt and say what I feel individual, and I would feel very harsh if it's rubbish. And I would have to say it's rubbish on a live stream. So, no. Jordan! Hey Jordan, how did you feel about Hamilton on Mercedes? But Mervin, I tell you what, send it to me on Instagram. It appears, there it is. No, there, right, oh, there. There's my Instagram. Send me the song on Instagram on a DM, and I'll listen to it, and I'll tell you what I think there. I just don't want to do it in a public forum, because I don't feel that would be fair on you. This instrumental here is really nice. I didn't realise I had it. And these BVs I like. These ones. I'll keep them in.
Better is one day.
No worries, Mervin. Yeah, I would just feel very harsh. It could be great, and it probably is. It's just one of those things where I'm just like, I don't want to. I've seen like Christian hip hop people do it a lot, and then it can invite a lot of hate and negativity into a space where I don't want hate and negativity. So I would much rather do it in a private forum where I could probably give you useful feedback and we can chat one-on-one and like see how, if there's areas where it can improve and all of that sort of stuff. So I'd much rather do it that way than on a public forum. Let's overuse these. I'm going to get rid of these tenor BVs because they're rubbish. And this is weird.
Oh, hear my heart.
It kind of sounds cool, but not really. Like, not enough to keep it in. Again, balance between making it sound good and being distracting. What does it do in the chorus? Yeah. Wow, one bad weekend for Lewis Hamilton and you're happy. Mate, when Lewis Hamilton is in one of those moods where he's just like kind of crying at everything, that's my happy time. And when Vettel crashed and he was okay and it messed up Lewis Hamilton, I was like, that's the only way he can win now. Mate, it sucks so much that you can't come over and watch F1 at the moment. So for anyone else who doesn't know, I'm a massive F1 fan, and Jordan is a friend of mine. And we all sit and watch F1. He is a Lewis Hamilton fan. I'm a Sebastian Vettel fan. Actually, Jordan. So if you're still there, where is it? Hang on. So back at home, here you go. So one of my ex-girlfriends from many years ago got me a signed Sebastian Vettel photo from when he was still at Red Bull, as you can see. And I left it back in Guernsey, where I'm from. And it's really faded, but I need to get it back on. Look how young he is. It was signed at the Abu Dhabi GP, November the 3rd, 2012. There you go. But it came in the post. My sister sent it back along with my first 1975 ticket, a bass pick from a band called Dweeb, which was the first band that I saw live. It's great. So I need to get a frame and stick it back up on my wall somewhere. Because I've got my shrine to Liverpool on that corner there, and on here. Not my shrine, you know what I mean. My happy place for Liverpool Football Club over there. I need my happy place for Sebastian Vettel. So the only BVs I'm going to keep in are those oohs, just because they sound quite nice. And I've taken out any time where it's like kind of singing with people, just to, again, try and make it sound a bit nicer. Oh man, this bass is so heavy. So so it's a resonance, not residence. It's a resonance that I'm trying to get rid of. Normally, maybe I'd do it with EQ. So it's here. That's kind of where the fun stuff happens. There we go. Sounds a bit nicer. So the drums, so I kind of put on like you can kind of filter out all the low bits. So normally just kind of get rid of any unnecessary low end. So like low end you won't hear, but when it all builds up, it all kind of sounds a bit muddy. Because annoyingly, the other thing you're trying to compete with with online services is you're trying to compete with stuff like Elevation, Bethel, who's the other ones in UK? Hillsong, Audacious, all these places who literally for their worship music is like their setups are ridiculous. Like they have a recording studio they've got a guy doing live sound out front of house, and all the feeds go into another guy who's in a music studio with a full music production setup, making just the sound for worship in a music studio. So they got two separate mixers for front of house and live. For most normal churches, they literally have to make do with the live mix and get it sent out. So that's really hard for people like us who are literally just dealing with a sound desk to try and make it sound good. So you have to do a load of prep work beforehand to then like ship it out and make sure it sounds good when it goes out. So you're competing with people who have, in a lot of these cases, so like a lot of the big guys, basically unlimited budget, professional teams of sound engineers and mixers and all of this stuff, studios and all of this ridiculousness out the back. Like if you could see some of the people's setups of how they are, like church setups, it's like a full, like all the big guys have got full TV production studios, full sound studio production rooms, as well as like a madness on stage. the lot, and then most churches have been flung into this situation and just gone, go, you've got to compete with them. That's like hard to try and figure out. Oh, come back. There we go. I keep forgetting if I drop my phone on a book, then it will make a really loud noise. This is kind of simple, really, which is quite nice. How do they get all the money? Yeah, they'll also, I think a lot of the big mega churches have like mega donors behind them a lot of the time. So it's not like, it'll be congregation donors, but also like congregation donors who will be people with lots of money who will go in and fund all this stuff. But if you think about like Hillsong, they'll have a massive recording deal, which they'll get loads of money from. Book publishing, they're kind of like a whole publishing house, like the way they're set up. So they'll have record deals and publishing deals with books and all that stuff, which would all go back into the church / the people. I don't know what the deals are, but yeah, it is kind of, when you're a relatively small church, you have a few professionals in there. So like, obviously this is my job that I would do normally anyway. And we've got people who are good with production, live streaming, all of that sort of stuff. And there's people that might not necessarily be the best at it, but are just dealing with it and having to be good with it. Yeah, we can kind of get a good thing going. How do they get mega donors? I think by being popular. I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure, but I imagine from what I have seen and heard around, I think it's like they'll have people that will give them and there's charities over here, like Christian charities, that will have big donors. So they'll know people with lots of money and get them to put money back into church and help them fund what they do. Which is fine. It's like, if you've got a Christian, like there's Christians out there who have lots of money who reinvest it back into the church, and that's, church will then spend it to put it back in. It's great. But yeah, also the revenue streams for big churches like that are a lot bigger than just congregational ones. If you think of your normal Sunday church, the revenue streams will be like grants, as well as stuff like your congregation having people that do it regularly versus just your one-offs, big gives, and that's kind of like your limited revenue stream for like a smaller church. When you have people like Hillsong and Elevation, they'll have like fundraising teams, like people that are just dedicated to getting money into the church, as well as like publishing deals with companies that will put money back in, record deals, so books, record deals, all of this sorts of stuff. There's kind of like a multitude of ways that they can get money. Plus, because they're big names, people will feel like, oh, I would, rather than give money to, like, some people's thought processes, or rather than giving money to my church, I'll give it to Hillsong because I know that they'll use it, or they want to give money to Hillsong because they value what they've bought into their lives. fair enough. I think it's one of those things that some places are really like secretive about, but don't necessarily need to be, like, you know, like kind of where they get money from. Like, I really value a church that's really open in where their income streams come from and how they use it. Like, I really value that in a church. You know, if a church is saying you need to be good stewards of your money, and then they're not saying where, how, and what they spend their money on, then how do I know you're being good stewards with my money, like, that I give you? But I definitely know some charities that will, like, be really hidden about, like, hide the fact that they have big donors behind them who will give them a large amounts of money every year, and then try and hide that from people to then try and get more small people in. To me, that feels a bit iffy, but also kind of most charities have got to do what they've got to do to make money anyway. So you value the small as well as the big as well. So I can totally see how it all works, but like, money in church is always such a weird thing, I feel. Can be hard to, like, get your head around. So I went to a church previously that was really, like, not great with how they spent their money, and was really focused on money, and I was like, I got out of there pretty quickly. I think they did a big give. They did a big give and raised, like, a large sum of money, I think around 6 figures, but that could be wrong. I remember about 6 figures to go towards the mortgage of their new building, while they had a family that was a missionary in India whose house burnt down, and they raised barely 4 figures. And I'm just like, what? Like, really? Like, well, great, we've paid off the mortgage, but, you know, some family who's a missionary in India's lost all their stuff. Okay then. Yeah, I never hear it. Money is such a taboo subject. Wish people were more open. Yeah. I think it just takes people to be more, like, talk about it more openly. Like, I try and be more, like, a lot more open with, not necessarily, like, how much money I make from music, but just, like, be realistic with saying, like, there's a few people that I mentor, and I try and be realistic with them of being, like, someone wanted to raise, like, £3,000 for an album to make an EP, and I said, that's great, but you ideally, if you do that, spend that, and then you got to try and make it back, so you're, you know, once you've raised that money, you're net 3,000, so you can kind of always do the other stuff. And realistically, you know, if you get this amount of streams, you're only going to make this amount of money, and you're not going to make it all back. So educating people on how money works in certain scenarios. Hello. What's that? Oh, that's great. My phone just giving me... There you go. Talking about money, you just saw I spent £4 off my business account. I thought that was. Yeah, it's just you can educate people in money and talk about money without it being such a massive thing. There you go. There's two of me. What happens at the end here? That's a really nice running theme, that. Because the acoustic guitar does it as well. Nice. I love this version. Right. If you've turned me up, turn it down, because I'm going to stick a load of effects on it to make it louder. Just pre-warning you. Those drums have got so much high end on them. Oh, mate, you're lagging behind. Oh, you're on a MacBook Air as well. Trying to sort out 128 gig of storage or something. You need to get an external hard drive that'll sort your worries out. I have, so my laptop's a 500 gig one, and sat on my desk there is a 8 terabyte hard drive which does all my backups. I need to back up. That just reminded me I need to back up all my stuff, and 6 terabytes of it is just storage. So everything gets lobbed on there. The only thing that gets taken out with me is any current projects, but it's all backed up constantly. Should back up constantly. So good. And I've learned that from many times of having hard drives fail on me and losing everything. Most recently, probably about 7 months ago, I dropped a hard drive and lost a load of music projects. Some of them hadn't been backed up, but oh well. And some of them were paid work and had to quickly recreate everything. That was great. So in my head, I already know that I'm going to ask the violin player to jump on top of that running theme of a da-na-na-na, and it'll probably be something I'd do at the beginning. So, and in the intro, maybe I'd get her to do an octave down, and I can play it on the keys. Come out in the verses. It'd be like in the instrumentals and the bridges and stuff. The nice little instrumental section and stuff at the end. Right, guide and so let's make sure all of this is okay.
Verse. Verse. Chorus. All in.
Did that just say all in then? I don't think so.
Chorus.
There we go. Don't tell me what to do.
Interlude. Verse. Chorus. Bridge.
What's your real name? It's actually WYLD. That's what my parents called me, and they spelled it wrong, annoyingly. What's your real name? My real name's Paul. I need to add it to your Insta bio. So this is kind of... So I didn't before because I just wanted it to be totally separate to me. I feel like I struggle a little bit with trying to take ownership over something that's not mine. So therefore, I run a music project called WYLD. Is kind of how I always say it. And I kind of didn't... Like, my public profile is... Or my public profile or my real profile or whatever personal, not business one is out there. It's just because I didn't want a load of people who would find me and then look at my stuff. And I also struggle with the whole thing of I don't want to be a Christian celebrity. Like, I feel like you can set yourself up to fail a little bit with being a Christian celebrity. Like, I'm literally just a normal person who wants to share what I do. I make music, I put it out. And then also, I like doing these streams because then I can also help other people try and do it as well. And so I just try and maintain being a normal person as much as possible. I don't claim to know any real tricks or be the next, I don't know, big worship person. I literally just make music and put it out. But I also do forget that there's many times where I'll chat to other artists because we want to collab on or work on something together, and then I forget that I haven't actually told them my actual name. So we'll be on a call, and it'll normally at the beginning or the end. I'll just go, oh yeah, actually, what's your real name, by the way? Is it Wild? So I forget. My real name's Paul. There you go.
Instrumental breakdown.
Normal as in the sense of a normal human being. I'm not anything massively special. I know I'm not normal in other senses, but that's fine. I am who God designed me to be, Jordan. What does Lady say here?
Instrumental. Slowly build. All in.
Okay, that's fine. I feel like Better Is One Day in Your Courts is such an underrated song. In the terms of music, like worship music, it's a jam. Hey Paul. Do you want to keep it anonymous or can I tag you in a story post as Paul? You can tag me. I honestly don't care. You can call me Paul. It's fine. It's just I just never think to put it out there. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to call my music, like, I didn't want to say, you know, like when I put music out, I didn't want it to be Paul. I didn't want it to be my name. Just because if it starts doing well, I get worried that will then I will then take that as like I'm doing well, I'm doing good, I get lots of listens, I get lots of plays, I get lots of success. Whereas it's not that. Like, I don't want that. I really hate that. Like, and I'm not saying for other people that's bad either. It's just for me, I can sometimes struggle with success coming and me then owning that and wanting to own it for me. And I just want to like kind of make sure that that's not a thing. So by trying to keep it like separate from my name in terms of like just for my own head, and I don't want it to be like, here's your, you know, a song by me put out. It messes with my head a little. Not messes with my head a little bit. It's just sometimes I can't be the most humble person, and sometimes the ego can get the better of me. But that's fine, because if I can do as much as I can to help myself to not have that happen and separate things and stuff, it's mainly just for my head, in all honesty. So go for it. Better is one day in your courts. Better is. Do 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 do. Your countdown is done. Oh, nice! It tells you when people turn on countdowns. Do 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 do. Oh man, Oh. Right. Bounce this out. Come on, Robin. I've already finished this one. It's an easy one, but I've already finished it. I'm on to my third one. Oh, actually, I haven't even downloaded my fourth track that I need to do. Recording guides? No. Original morning tracks. The nice thing about doing worship this way is I can't, like, worship leaders can't change keys last minute. Technically they can, but I tell them they can't, because although the backing track's in D, so you can't change it to D sharp, and then I'm sat on the keys going, I don't know how to play in D sharp, and trying to transpose all my plugins will take too long. So don't tell any worship leaders that I play with I said that. It makes my life so much easier. So excited to be able to get out the house on Friday. I've been in self-isolation for too long. Classic Roscoe did that to me twice in one night. Yeah. Can't do that now with me, because I'm your MD. Therefore, I'd tell you no. On one song. Ouch. Yeah, I don't like it when they transpose to, like, it's like, keep it in the normal ones like G, D, E, C, A, B. I can do all of them. It's when you try and go like, oh, we're gonna do it in B flat. I'm like, nope. So I have patches on my main stage presets of where it's all like already transposed. So if someone does something in B flat, I know I can play, like, I just have a transposed patch that takes my keyboard to D, and I'll just play it in D. So I basically capo my keyboard. What's the other one that we're doing? Worthy of it all. So I've already started doing this. So I know on this song I need to add drums. Because the live drums on this do a madness, which won't work live. They do the... They also sound rubbish. They sound so muddy. We can't have that. It's not acoustic enough. So, I need to add in my own acoustic drums. Do 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 do. Do. This is actually a really good set on Sunday. I'm looking forward to playing all of this. It's relatively easy in terms of songs. So, like, it's nice to, like, play and worship to. You don't have to really think about it too much. I don't have to lead anything. I always hate it when the worship leaders be like, oh, it's all piano-led songs. I hate that. What am I looking for? I get really nervous. So anything that I can do to alleviate that is great. The video is now exported, so I can start the next one whilst I start uploading. So you were trying to... That's where you're getting the storage problems. Get it. So I have preset kits just for worship stuff now, where it's like, here's a kick, here's a cymbal, snare, toms, and tambourine, the most important part of a worship set. So I can just kind of like drag this in and make something. And then I also have a recent addition of a cajon, if it works. Yeah, there you go. So, then they don't really work. So I can make it sound really acoustic with a cajon. If you couldn't get any more church, there you go. Sweet. This is a great song as well. So. So I'm just adding in drums now at the moment. Hello, loop that comes out of nowhere. Really? What does this do? Interesting. That's the only thing it does for the whole song. Nope. How long have you been doing music, your music biz for? 5 years. I started, 5 years ago. So I worked for Rivers and Robots for a year and a half as a session musician and helped set up some of their electronic-y stuff on the side. Worked for 1224 I worked for a band called 1224 for a little bit as well, doing some session work. Same with, so like I did session work for Rivers and Robots drums and 1224 drums. And then I worked for a youth event where I was at MD for a year and a bit. So I was like, did all their music stuff and creative things. So I used to work in online bingo, doing web and graphic design. And then, after doing the youth event, I started teaching drums with a charity. And then I took over that music school for a year. And then I'm now I now work for church a day a week. That's kind of like my day jobs. And then all along that, I've been doing my own music. So kind of been doing jobs, like day a week jobs, 2 day a week jobs to like help fund all of my music stuff. That's kind of what have I done? That's kind of like the easiest way of putting it. Because just doing the music stuff on its own does not make much money. Right, I'm going to go get some more water because my throat is dry. Here's a little intermission. I'll play some music.
Worship many idols,
Be back in a sec.
Seem so far, well, I need you to be close. And my doubts are at war with what I used to know. But for me, it is good to be near you. I have made the sovereign God my refuge. I will tell of all that you've done for me, how you cleansed and set me free.
It is good to be near you. It is good to be near you. It is good to be near you. It is good to be near you.
Welcome me home like I've never gone astray. The orphan child has found a family. I give in to your kindness.
And I'm back. So we'll add in proper snare here. It's not a snare. Tambourine. Do. Great. What happens if we add cajon vibes here? Okay, I can get rid of these, to be honest. Do. Great. Robin, you did you used to do fitness stuff? I think I saw on your Instagram that you used to do fitness stuff, maybe? I can't remember. It might have been someone totally different. Is there any drum packs you would recommend? I just use Splice for a lot of stuff. Hello. Sorry I had to chase that. Oh, here we go. Read a blessing. He confirmed all goods. We're going to do the blessing at the end of the service in the key of A. There we go. Last minute changes. Awesome. I have the backing track ready. I will have all the backing and rehearsal tracks ready to go tonight. So on this, I think on this one, this is a somatics kick that is just got a filter on it, so it's punchy like that, and then you put a filter on it, not punchy, and then I think that's just an Ableton sample. I think that's just an Ableton sample. I think those are Ableton samples, and that's a Splice sample. So normally on Splice, I just look at what's new and then just download anything that takes my fancy. The Cajon came from a free plugin, but I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find Cajon sample packs. But it was just a contact instrument that I've just sampled myself, like a basically just on a kick and a top. But normally, like shaker wise, oh, I need to mute that. Oh, Fab, that's great. Thanks so much. Yeah, like shaker wise, I think there's one. There's a few. It's rubbish. Rubbish. There you go. So normally with shakers, I'll just stick them on. Yeah, I did. Nice. Were you a PT or anything, Robin? I've literally lost all my hard work I did. Managed to drop like 3 stone for my wedding, and then over lockdown I have gained at least half of that back. I'm so excited to go back to the gym. And literally the day I think it was last Monday, I was really excited to go back to a gym, and then got told that they had an outbreak at my wife's work and we had to stay indoors for 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, please. I'm pretty sure that is the world telling me that you need to just carry on eating lots of food. Oh, nice. Had a big shake-up 4 months ago. All right. Nice one. Is it a good or a bad shake-up? You don't have to say what it was, but I don't want to be like, oh yeah, that's great, if it was a terrible shake-up. Oh, nice. Fair enough. You seem like you're doing well now, though. Like your social media stuff that you've been doing with Nathan and whatnot. All of that seems nice and good. So, that's like... So this section... Those are like my big drums now. So I've got like my verse drums and my big drums. This feels a bit slow, so I'm going to speed it up because I'm bored of this song being slow. Just feels like it's lagging a little bit, especially the like you can kind of hear it in the shaker. It was like a bit like kind of wanted to move. Not by much, but let's try 74. way better. Nice. I actually really like the cajon sound. I really don't like it live. I really don't like cajons live when you, but mixed in on a track nicely, it sounds quite nice. I also, this is the only bit that I'm going to have to actually learn. On this, so on this version, this was by, who was this by actually? Lindy Kofer. Never heard of them before, but this track sounded the nicest. And it got to this instrumental, and I got scared because I know I'm going to have to learn this piano part, but... So nice. Because I need to actually figure out what it's doing. Because it's doubling, like the note, it's kind of like playing that in the chords. Like it sounds like there's two notes happening together. So rather than being like da na na da na na, it's doing that but with other notes in there. So again, da na na da na na. So that's on one hand while you're playing something different on the other hand, and I'm like... Oh, wow. Hello. Then that's just playing the octave of it. Oh no, it's not. Oh, do I need to change? Oh, sounds a bit weird. Yeah. Is it beats? Yep. There we go. Crazy. Sounds so nice though. Like coming out of big sections into like that. It's really nice. As soon as I heard that, I was like, this is the version that we're going with. Because, yeah. It's just very pretty. I feel like those are the moments as well that you can do really nicely that lead into more. Actually, yeah, I'm going to take credit for that. So like we're also trying to like leave and create space for worship as well. So like That's the other challenge. While using backing tracks and stuff, how do you create space for people to worship? So it might actually be worth getting rid of this. Oh, actually, no, we can repeat that. So how do you like create space for more free-flowing worship? So moments like this, where it's really structured. So go from a chorus. Let me turn this down. Go from a chorus into another section. If you can create those spaces for people at home to just be able to worship, as well as like worship leaders being able to lead that and being able to loop these sections, can really help. So you've taken them on a journey up until this point. So this is like big into nothing. Like moments like that just create nice spaces. Like this is kind of the other thing that to be thinking about when you're MDing is how do you create spaces. So it can be really hard to, like everything you have to be thinking about like 4 steps ahead of yourself. So how do you create space for like the moments of euphoria? How do you create spaces of intimacy? How do you just create excitement and joy? Like your whole point of you worshipping is to bring out these emotions and like make people feel these things, but also allowing Holy Spirit to come in and use those moments for what he wants to be speaking to people about. So if you can create all these different spaces, you allow people to experience something totally different rather than just like going through a song. How do you create open spaces for people to be able to engage and at home doesn't feel so weird, but also like utilizing space in a normal worship setting as well is really key. So dynamics are something that is like something I love. As a drummer, normally it's just hit things loud and as fast as possible, but being really in and keyed in on like how to utilize space and dynamics and layers all to emphasize different things on worship, because worship should just be like, you should be trying to lead people in song on a story or on a path. Like how do you lead people through a story of what you're trying to do that engages people with the talk as well, but also leaves space for people to worship themselves. You don't really want to be like, I kind of like see it as like when you're taking a dog for a walk. Sometimes worship can feel like you're dragging a congregation like when they don't want to go, and sometimes you can kind of feel like pulling them on a lead to be like, you're going over here now, or you're just running with a dog across a field to be like, okay, we're just doing the worship now, so I'm going to run really fast and go all the way down here, and then that's done. Whereas what you want to do is like a good mixture of like walking with the dog on the lead on a path, and you get to a field, you take it off the lead, and the dog has free roam to go do whatever, and then you have to walk the dog back home again. Like, I feel like that's what the job as worship leaders and MDs are, is to be the people that are leading. You're leading people, so you still have the lead and going along with people and whatnot, but you're also allowing them to have the freedom to do what they want to do. I've never played fetch with a worship band though. Maybe that's the next thing. Call and responses, bring that back. That's what fetch is, call and response. Mate, this dog worship analogy is great. Wow, that's proper old school. We need to bring back key changes and call and responses. I think if you're going to write a mega worship song, like the best worship song there is, one, written by Bethel, because it has to be, because apparently everything's written by Bethel. 2, call and response. 3, key changes. And Phil Wickham does a cover of it. There you go. That's how you write the best worship song. Oh, those strings. They can get lost. I like strings, but when you can obviously tell they're done on a Korg keyboard, not a fan. Can I make them sound good though? Just because it sounds so like it obviously sounds very. I played this on a keyboard. I don't think it's very inspiring note choices as well. I might be able to make it into a pad. Like a bit of a nicer pad. Spitfire Audio BBC. Yeah, so I had all the lab stuff by Spitfire, and it all just doesn't work now. I have no idea. Yes, Matthias. Hello, mate. How you doing? So I had all the lab stuff, all the free stuff, and now it just doesn't work. Is this on yet? What do you mean, is this on yet? It's on right now, mate. Unless I've just muted my mic for the whole time. I'll show you. It's really weird and annoying. Like, I've tried reinstalling everything. It just doesn't work anymore. So I go to labs. It opens and I just get all these errors. So I think one thing works. Oh. I literally just have that. Everything else does not work. So I can do slide ups and that is it. Everything else is like, it's all downloaded. I've pointed it to the right place. I just don't understand. I sent them an email and they're just like, don't know. It's like, great, thanks guys. Right. Let's see if this is a good pad now. I'll have to call you to explain, but I can be fixed. Mate, there's nothing that can fix you. I'm sorry. We'll have to have this conversation later, but okay. Sacking off these. What keyboard is it? Sounds very good. No keyboard. Literally. So, to fill you in, basically, these are all just multi-tracks. My job on Sunday is to MD for church. So I buy multi-tracks. Or arrange multi-tracks, send it off. And this is me basically showing how I mix and master and make multi-tracks for Sundays. So this is not me. I have not produced it, but the drums, because the drums do a madness. and we don't want a madness. We want chilled. So the this piano section is beautiful. The only downside is that I'm on keys and I have to learn that because I like it so much. I'm not going to cry about that statement, I promise. Mate, I know you're fine. Don't lie. When you ring me, I'll introduce you to Jesus. He'll sort you out. So I need some sort of build here. Yes, man, they have huge sounds. Yeah, I mean, this is whoever played it at the time. Oh, is that going to be? Do. Yeah, the drums on this version just sound really muddy because they're live. I think he's playing a game of how many cymbals can he hit at the same time. If you listen to this, he's like... So, that's kind of not what we want. It's not the idea of chilled. Whereas my version... a bit more acoustic. I really need to like copy and paste these rather than drawing it one by one. Need a fill. Got to go now, going for a walk with neighbour. We'll continue editing later. It was fun joining. Work club same time next week. Maybe. Depends what I'm doing this time next week. I'm not sure. I kind of just stream when I'm doing something interesting or I know what's going on. So if I don't want to do this again, like the same thing every week. If I've got something interesting going on, then I'll do it. But if not, I'll do it another day. Have fun on your walk. Right. I think this is fine now. So then I normally just stick this quick mastering thing that I got going on. Matthias and Jordan, Golfos. I introduce you to Golfos. This thing, it's mental. It makes things sound good by magic. So this is it beforehand. So this is before. I'm just going to EQ things. So, sounds nice now. Then by magic, it didn't really have that much of effect. Hang on. You can kind of hear it brightens it a little bit. I don't know if it comes through, but like it's crazy because it basically like helps pick out a load of stuff. So suddenly you gain a load more detail out of it by kind of just flicking a few little settings here, there, and everywhere, and then by magic it does it. So yeah, that's all kind of mastered now. Make a guide, a rehearsal track with... So normally make a rehearsal track with the click and the guide in. Oh, is that...
1, 2.
Oh, you sound interesting.
Intro. 2, 3, 4.
So, guide track. And then that is all the tracks done for Sunday. Done in however many hours I've been streaming for. And then I spend 2 days learning all the songs. And then play it all on Sunday. Project files. What am I doing? Full guides. There you go. Worthy of it all. It's in D. 74 BPM. Done. So we run it on prime loops, which I can quickly show you. Multi-track out. So we run it on this thing. So this is devices. So this is kind of what. So this is running on my iPad. So I look at this. So on my iPad, like if I got keys, will sit like here. So then I can tap any of these things. So it's all kind of
intro,
like
2,
panda
3,
and stuff.
4.
But if I want to go, so basically I can go anywhere I want. So I can tap the chorus.
2, 3, 4.
And I've got like repeats, fade outs and stuff. So I'll play from here. Can fade it out.
first, 2, 3, 4.
The click and stuff will carry on going. So if, like some weeks, the worship leader decides, I'm going to ignore the track now, you can fade it out and carry on playing like normal. But we all load it up into this. You can multi-track all of this stuff out, so you can separate all the stems out and upload them like one by one. So you can upload them here. So like I've got track, cues, and click. So you can do this, or you can have like drums, bass, acoustic, all of that stuff. So you can do all of that if you want to. But I find that this app has a tendency to fall over. So if you try and load like a lot of stuff through it, and you try and get it to do too much, it will just go nah. And halfway through, if you're trying to jump around sections as well, it's got a buffer and load a load of other stuff. It will just stop working. And sometimes I've had it where you change song and then it just won't load either, or it will try and reload the track. So rather than downloading it offline, if you've got loads of stems, it will download it offline but get confused and then try and re-download it. So you're in the middle of a worship set and you go to hit tremble, and then suddenly it just doesn't, like, it just goes to buffer. So we've had one. I was playing keys for somewhere, some church thing. I got sessioned in to play keys at an event for a charity, Christian charity, and they were only using track for one song. Practiced it the whole way through, it was fine, and it came to it came to the performance and the track just wouldn't load, like it just wouldn't load up. And like, just for those, literally we tried it, it didn't work, it went halfway through and then it would cut out, and it was because it was trying to load constantly all these separate things. So now I mix, master, sum it all down into just track, cues, and click, and it works way better now than what it did beforehand. So I tried to use the multi-tracks version of this app as well, and then it came out that when I used it, in fact I'm going to show you on this. Hang on. So on the multi-tracks app, I deleted it. Never mind. On the multi-tracks app, I went to go and, like on here, you can repeat sections. So for Glorious Day, for example, this was the first song, and the worship leader was like, I want to
Intro, 2,
just
3,
loop this
4.
intro. So you click it one time, it'll just repeat once. If you click it again, it'll just repeat automatically until you tell it not
Intro,
to.
2, 3, 4.
So on the multi-tracks version of this app, it charges you to repeat.
4.
So I couldn't do this now. I would have to sign up for a monthly subscription to press the repeat button. And I was like, what? Really? Like, I'm gonna imagine if you're in worship and you're playing and then you press the repeat button and then it just goes, you need to sign up, monthly subscription. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. So this is free, which is great. There's some limitations, but in general, it's just nicer. And as a free app for playing backing tracks, I couldn't ask for any more. Right, I'm going to bounce these out and then I'm going to head off. For any other musician people, there's a guy called Joe Clegg who he's doing a live session tonight. If you go to his Instagram, he's a drummer for Ellie Goulding, but also the MD, so he will probably explain all of this stuff in a way more concise way. But these are kind of like a little work club things that we do where some people who are working as well will just kind of join and we'll work together and chill out and hang out, drink tea and just do work, and I'll show you kind of what I'm doing. Original multi-tracks. I mean, I could do one more track if people want it, but if not, I'll sod off. In fact, let me just put some music on in the background. while I'm bouncing out some stems.
These days I'm in your love, I'm deep, I'm safe. 'Cause you're the only one, it's you I crave. You watch it all for me.
So to like upload it live as well, basically you use the Loop Community Prime website, put it into a zip file, upload it to the website, it appears on your app, on your account. Super easy. And so far, doing it not multi-tracked has worked way better than trying to do it multi-tracked. It's been really consistent. It's allowed us to do a lot of like on the cuff stuff as well. It's really easy to jump around songs, and then also like repeat sections allow more space and stuff as well. So that's been great. But anyway, these are exporting now. So I'm going to head off. I've had enough. How long have I been streaming for? 2.5 hours of a stream. Not bad. This has been How I MD. I'm going to see if I can find someone to chop this up into sections and put it out as a video. If not, the whole live stream will be out. So if you ever get stuck and you want to know how do I do stuff, then feel free to have a look. But I'm going to head off now. What I'm doing. I'm going to head off and stop this. But it's been fun. If you want to join me for more work club things, then links to socials and stuff happen somewhere. Is it backwards? Yeah, backwards. Links to my socials are all there. I'll post on the day roughly when I'm doing things. And if you want to join me for work, feel free to join me for work. But for now, I shall see you all later. Thank you for joining and have a good evening.
You watch it all for me. It's been on the other side. They used to tell me that all the time I believe them. Not having whatever I want, it was freedom. Once I met Jesus, I saw the truth. I felt natural like if I was rude. He gave me freedom. They told me he was the Messiah. I believed them, now I know. And I was lost and hurting, he found me.